It's time to go balls deep.
The EA Sports College Football Headquarters Podcast.
Yeah, buddy, it is time for another episode of Balls Deep. Thank you guys for listening in. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share it on social media, whatever it is you guys do to make this podcast grow. We appreciate all you guys' support.
As always, I am Anthony Scafacci.
I am Alan Gigax.
And welcome to Balls Deep.
Yeah. So, hey, let's remember this time we're going to do our sponsor before we get to Just the Tip.
The sponsor for today's Just the Tip, Al.
Today's sponsor is Bukkake's Japanese Biscuits and Breakfast. It's all about that gravy.
Yeah, Bukkake's. Everybody loves Bukkake's.
Yeah, they do. All right. So, today's tip is throwing less interceptions. It's a problem we all have on EA Sports College Football. And you know, you will notice that when your guys switch sides, like if you do a reverse on a play, sometimes, so I don't know what the buttons are on Xbox, but okay. I know on PlayStation, like typically your X receiver is going to be square, your Z receiver is going to be circle, and your Y receiver is going to be X. And all of that is kind of confusing, especially if you flip the play, or if you have two receivers on one side, you'll wind up having circle on the left side of the play. So here's what I do to address that. Before the snap, I have a progression in my head, what my progression is going to be. Like, okay, first I'm going to look at X receiver, then I'm going to look at my circle, and then I'm going to check down to triangle. And so in my head, I'm going to go X, circle, triangle, X, circle, triangle. And then I snap the ball, and that way I know where my reads are going to be and which button I'm going to push.
All right. Thank you, Al. That's a great tip.
Dude, I'm helpful.
Yeah. All right. All right. So today's topic, what are we going to talk about, Al? What do you think we should do?
Dude, so we like playing with shitty teams.
Yeah.
Right now, my offline dynasty is Eastern Michigan.
Oh, okay.
I just finished an offline dynasty with New Mexico State, brought them all the way to the Natty.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Eastern Michigan,
Yep.
Are you in year one with them now?
I am in year one.
Okay, so you just start. What do they start out as?
They're like a 72 or something
okay,
like that.
And this year's version, 72 is like the old 62.
Yeah,
right?
They're terrible.
They're terrible. And so what does Eastern Michigan got going for them?
If I find it, I'll let you know.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
They got nothing going for them.
Right.
So like, aside from playing time.
Yep.
Because that's probably.
Oh, you mean like why would people come there?
Why?
Dude, no. That's so the bad teams that I really like only have two things going for them. It is playing time and proximity to home.
Okay, so when I also love building bad teams. I won't even play a team that's like use a team that's like a good team unless maybe we're doing like a league or something like that where that's what people want to do. But if I'm doing like an offline dynasty, I want to start from the bottom, and I like using the obscure teams because it's fun. You know, it's fun to use a team that's not very good and build them up and take that climb. It makes it, when you get to the top, it just makes it that much better.
It's more satisfying.
Yeah, and that's one thing that almost every bad team has in common is that they're going to be able to offer playing time.
Right.
And so in this version, playing time is king when it comes to the portal. Right? And
absolutely. The transfer portal. Yep.
But before you even get to the portal, you got to play that first season.
Dude.
And
so that's what we're going to talk about today is how to take this real shitbag of a program that has nothing to offer and how to turn them into a winner.
Okay. So I think the first step is pick a program that you can actually get behind, because a lot of people, when they start an offline dynasty, it's like an epidemic. They'll play a few games, they get bored, they want to play another one.
They don't like losing.
Yeah, they don't like losing, right?
Right.
So my first advice is to actually pick a team that you like for whatever reason, whether it's the uniforms, whether it's a stadium. I picked Buffalo because they play in bad weather.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted to play in a stadium with bad weather, and I wanted to play a program that has never really had success.
Right.
And so that's why I picked them.
Has that been one of the knocks on NCAA 25 is that there's not a lot of weather. Do you find that you play in snow very often?
I've had in I think I'm in season 5 with them now.
Okay.
And I've had maybe 2 snow games, but I've had a bunch of rain.
All right, that's something.
It is something that I hope that they do more of, especially like if you play in those Northeast schools,
right?
Or like Colorado State,
right.
where like snow is like a real thing that they're going to play in, a couple of times a season, and bad weather is going to be a thing all the time. Wind is one thing this fucking game never forgets. Let me tell you that. Right?
But I don't notice it during passing.
No, it doesn't really affect passing, and honestly, it doesn't really affect the kicking game that much because every kicker has like a goddamn cannon.
Dude,
for
the
a
computer's
leg.
Kicker.
Yeah,
they kick it from 60, and they could have made it from 80.
Yeah, dude, I turned the kicking down because it's so annoying that like these bad kickers at Ball State are like just blasting 64-yard field goals with like 10 to spare. I'm like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
It's fucking Legatron over there.
Back on top.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
A bad team. Yeah. Because the bad teams also even have bad kickers.
Yeah, well, they have bad everything.
Yeah, they have bad
everything. Okay, so here's another thing that I think is one, pick an identity.
Right. Yeah. Somebody you can get behind.
Well, no, I'm saying like an offensive identity or a defensive identity, preferably both. Figure out what kind of team are you going to be.
Yep.
Right. And then start your recruiting to kind of fix that team to the way you want to play.
Right. Yeah. So one of the cool things about college football is you get a completely new roster every 4 years or at the most 5 years. And so you can turn a team around in that amount of time if you recruit for the type of team you want. So for me, I like to build a power running team. So in that first season, I'm looking for offensive line that are power offensive linemen. I'm looking for a power running back. That's my preferred style of running back. But, dude, early on, I'll take any running back I can get my hands on.
Motherfucker's got to have 2 legs. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I'm also looking for fullbacks and tight ends that can block. And that's going to start building my identity. And then with play style, if you have that play style, like early on, all you can offer is playing time and proximity to home.
Sure.
But pretty quickly, you can get play style. Yeah. So whether you're a passing team or a running team or whatever it is you're doing, if you find that identity and you stick to it, people are going to come for your playing style. And then on defense, I like to have strong defensive line play, and I feel like everything grows from there.
Yeah.
And so, again, you get that playing style. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I think definitely you got to start somewhere on your team. And most of the time, your skill position players are not real good. That's why the team is bad to begin with, because a lot of your rating comes from your quarterback, your middle linebacker, things like that. The aggregate rating only goes up really on the defense first. On offense, it's pretty much like you got to get that quarterback. And so my advice is go after the scrambling quarterback early, because you're going to be running for your fucking life anyway. Right. You might as well get something out of it. The scrambling quarterbacks too, for whatever reason, they seem to come equipped with plenty good arms.
Yeah, like, they do. Or athletes too. They're still kind of broken in that way.
Oh yeah, recruiting athletes is definitely broken.
Right.
So after you kind of chart your recruiting course, so to speak. Right. The next thing is you're going to set your schedule. My advice is build some wins into that bitch.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, don't go after the big dogs just yet. Try to build slow and get some wins.
Right. It would be a cool thing if you could get, like right now, a Ball State will go ahead and play at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because they get a whole bunch of money for that.
Sure. And it's something I would like them to incorporate into the game.
Right.
Is something like that where,
But that's not in the game right now.
No, it's
or at
not,
least not in any real way.
And it may not be coming ever anyway.
It may not. Yeah. And so don't. Schedule FCS East or schedule
or at least
other
bad teams where you have a chance.
Schedule Eastern Michigan and New Mexico State and Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo and those teams like that.
Right, because getting wins counts for so much.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only metric that will defeat the other things that are kind of against you from the start. Like you're never going to have the team tradition. You're never going to have like campus lifestyle. Unless maybe you're in Hawaii or something.
Yeah, athletic facilities.
Yeah,
it's
athletic
not going to
facilities.
happen.
None of that stuff's going to happen.
Right. Academic prestige.
And winning is great deodorant. So you got to win early in order to start luring those recruits to you.
Yep.
So once you set your schedule, start playing. Obviously, my advice is keep it simple.
Right. So this is where the real meat of the episode is going to be, is like how to actually play with a shitty team.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk to like your average player. Your high-end players are going to win no matter what. Right? They've got that shit dialed in. They're just better than us. Just go talk to the 15-year-old lives next door to you or something, right? He's probably figured it out.
Yeah.
Right? Us older guys, us older gamers, which actually makes up a kind of the bulk of the headquarters, right? You know, we're just a little rusty from where we used to be when we were in our gaming primes.
Yeah.
I have to fucking
like a trombone that hasn't been played for a while.
I have to fucking stretch and like warm up before I fucking play because my fingers from like fighting and different things like that. Dude, I got like arthritis, dude, for like legit. Yeah. And so like I have to fucking warm up and to where I can like manipulate the controller and do some of this shit.
Right.
And I'll tell you, you know, you have to play at the level that you are a player. Like, so for example,
whether it's varsity, all-American.
Right now I'm an all-American level player. I still lose games.
Yep.
But, you know, play at the level that is challenging yet fun. Because it's not fun to lose 11 fucking games in a season.
It's not.
You know, it's you want to be somewhere around the middle and kind of you win some, you lose some.
Right. Ideally, where you play games against teams that are equally rated or within a few points, and those games are going to be fairly even.
Sure.
You know, eventually, when you get your team dialed in, like if the team is the kind of team you want, once I get my team to be a power running team, then I can play teams that are 6 points above me and stay competitive with them because I don't have that top flight quarterback that's going to boost my rating up, but I don't need it because I got offensive linemen who are like 88s across the board.
Sure.
And that's all you need.
So anyway, in the vein of like keeping it simple, you know, my advice is be conservative. Mm-hmm. You know, play conservative. Don't beat yourself. The computer is still the computer. It's going to find ways to lose if you let it.
Sure.
You know, don't give up the big play. Don't give them the big play by throwing like the pick six,
right? Or,
you know, trying some crazy ass shit where you're going to like fumble and stuff like that.
The big thing when you're playing with a bad team is to play mistake free.
Yeah, you got to play clean games.
Right, you have to play clean.
So in order to do that, I simplify my offense down as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And just try to keep down and distance pretty short, things like that. Right. And then that allows me to stay in the game and try to give the computer the opportunity to lose.
Yeah, the idea of coming in with a bad team and throwing 4 verts and hitting your guy 25 yards down the field, it's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, you can still get away with 4 verts because that shit's just broken.
But
right?
Dude, by the time your guy's that down the field, you're already sacked.
Yeah, but if you're using like Tennessee or Georgia or Alabama, you can just do that shit all day.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got like 4 receivers with 96 speed.
Right.
And one of those motherfuckers is about to be open.
Yeah.
Right? Just throw it up there, dog.
But dude, when you're New Mexico State, that ain't the case.
No, dude.
You're going to get
sometimes
sacked.
As soon as I look up, I'm being hit, and I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" And then I yell at the TV.
Yeah. So instead, instead of throwing those deep posts or whatever, you got to do drag routes. You've got to do outs. You got to do slants. You got to do little things that they're not even going to be good for 10 yards. But dude, when you're a bad team, you have to think to yourself, I've got 3 downs to work with to get this first down.
4.
Sometimes 4. Yeah. And dude, it's not unusual for me to have scoring drives that are 14, 15, 17 plays long because that's how long it takes me to get to that goddamn end zone. And when I have first down and I get 4 yards, I'm like, hell yeah, dude. It's only 2nd and 6.
Your drives last longer than I have sex now.
Yeah, exactly. And if I get a 2nd down, if I get 4 yards again, dude, I'm golden. 3rd and 2, oh, I can make that shit all day. I can do anything on 3rd and 2.
Okay, and so then, so that's offensive philosophy. Defensive philosophy, keep everything in front of you.
That's exactly right.
Right? Is don't play too much man-to-man early on when your corners are like 75 overall. Because, dude, those guys are just going to get torched.
Yep.
Right? You get that Legion of Gloom secondary where, dude, nobody is covering anybody. Everybody's just running wide open. And what you have to do is just try not to give up that big play like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
So I play a lot more cover 3 and a lot more cover 4.
Me too.
Early on when my team is bad. And as my corners and safeties get better, I start to switch it up and I play a little bit more zone or a little bit more man coverage, then more press And the better your team, the more press and more man you can play.
Right. But, dude, when you're bad, you don't want to do press at all.
Oh, hell no.
Because you're just going to give up a 60-yard pass.
Yeah, well, and sometimes the receiver catches it, and there's not a defender on the field.
Yeah, not on the screen. Yeah,
well, I just assume he just went to the sidelines as soon as the play was snapped. He just walked over to me. Sorry, coach, I couldn't do it. You know?
Yeah, dude, they might as well. And I tell that player, you just keep walking, man. Head into the tunnel.
Yeah, just keep
go
going.
Go to the locker room.
Yeah.
Go out to the parking lot and go back to Des Moines.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. Is just keep everything in front of you.
Right. So when it's like 3rd and 11, you can see from playing Road to Glory what kind of plays the computer calls. And on 3rd and 11, or dude, look at the coach suggestions.
Sure.
And you can see what kind of plays the computer calls. And they're going to call 4 verts.
Oh, yeah.
All the time on 3rd and 11 or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's so when you are, have you built a playbook yet?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you build a playbook, if you look, it has situational calls. So it'll have like first and 10.
I haven't done that.
No, it'll have like 2nd and medium, 2nd and long, 3rd and short, stuff like that. And so it's down and distance play calling. And you have to have, in order to make a creative playbook, so many plays that are like 4th and long. Otherwise, it won't even let you save the damn thing.
I did not know that.
No, well,
apparently I did that automatically.
Yeah,
because I'm a goddamn football genius.
Well, like if you just have like a 5 wide set, right, formation, right, it comes equipped with like 4th and long plays in it. Just add all, you're good to go. Okay. So anyway, so now, right, you're going through your season. You're going to win some games. You're going to lose some games.
Oh, well, wait a minute. I didn't get to my thing about why it's important that the computer always calls this same stuff.
Oh, go ahead, man.
Because on defense, if you're on like a 3rd and 11, call over the top coverage. Press, at least on PlayStation, you press triangle, and then you press up on, I think it's the right stick. And that has your corners defend over the top so that they're less likely to get burned deep. Because that's what the computer's trying to do on that play.
Yeah.
Likewise, when I'm in a goal line situation, I will have my corners do underneath coverage. Because if they're between the quarterback and the receiver, they're going to make that interception or break the play up. So that's where those things are useful.
Yeah. Yep. Or if you shade outside or shade inside. It kind of depends. But a lot of times, just remember, you're guessing.
Yeah, it's guesswork.
Either way, you're guessing.
But that's why I like if I'm within the 5-yard line, I'll go underneath because...
That's a good guess.
It's a good guess, yeah. Right. Okay, so going on to where you...
Okay, so now, as I said before, I was so rudely interrupted by my co-host. You're going to go through your season, and you're going to get to, hopefully, you make like a bowl game in your first year. But if you don't, it's not a big deal. Right? I mean, you should play at a level where with a bad team, winning is hard. That's my own opinion. That's the
idea behind picking a bad team.
Right, exactly. You didn't start with that bad team so you could win the natty, as the kids say, in year 1. Right. So, you play your bowl game, and then after the bowl game, when you get to the off season, that's when the treasure chest opens up.
The transfer portal.
The transfer portal is your jam when you are a really bad team, because everyone that's looking for playing time is going to call you up. You can have nothing going during the regular season.
And fill your roster with the transfer
3-star guys from the transfer portal.
And on that note, when you're doing your recruiting, even in that first season of recruiting, do not recruit 1- and 2-star players.
No, not unless you absolutely have to.
Right.
Just stick with 3-star players, especially in an offline dynasty where you're the only player. There's essentially infinite 3-star players.
Right, exactly. And then on top of that, if you don't fill your roster through recruiting, you're going to fill it in the portal, in the transfer portal with 3-star players.
And make sure that you go in and you have like 10 or 15 scholarships open for those portal guys. Because in year 1, you can really overhaul your roster with transfer portal guys right away.
Exactly. And you don't need 4- and 5-star players. You're not going to get those players when you're a bad team. You might get one.
Yeah, it depends. Maybe you get one, or maybe
if he's
you get 2.
in state or something.
Or sure, or just
to match.
whatever, the stars align and you get that.
But if you're used to playing with good teams, these recruiting classes are not going to look like that.
No.
But every 3-star player you get, they're going to make your team better.
Sure, even if it's just a little better, they're gonna find their way on the field, and eventually you get like gems out of there and stuff like that, and you get some real players.
Exactly, And so it's the same thing in the transfer portal. And yeah, you're going to fill all those holes in the transfer portal. And that's where your team really gets better.
And you know what, balls deep, we like to fill all those holes.
Oh yeah, we're going to fill those holes. Yeah, that's right.
And so anyway, so that's a big thing, right? So you hit that transfer portal, and then here is a key, right, that I actually just learned recently, that you can only fire your coaches during conference championship week. Did you know that?
I did. I found that out when I finally tried to fire a coach. Usually I don't care what my offensive defensive coordinators are because I'm doing all the play calling.
Yeah, but I like having the archetypes to be kind of split, like a recruiter, a motivator, and a tactician or something like that. And I'll tell you, on my Buffalo one, I've had goddamn motivators every year.
Okay.
And it's not really good because motivator is really only good. It's like the best way to describe it is your motivators, you get a lot of bonuses for guys that get drafted. Well, when your team is bad, you're not going to get a lot of guys drafted. So it's really, motivators better when you have like that kind of 3.5, 4-star level prestige type guy, and you're starting to get guys drafted every year. Right. Then motivator really starts to kick in, and it kind of becomes like a snowball effect that you start to get more points and more things and more everything, and then you get more guys drafted and so on and so forth. Where early on, you probably, if you're building a bad team, you kind of want to go recruiter.
Right. So you get those bonuses, you get more people interested in playing for you. And that's a big one, is that initial starting interest is big. And then like having more points to spend
is huge.
So more points to spend per recruit is big because you can now compete with those bigger programs because you're offering more essentially. But what you don't have is a big pool of points to use. Yeah. Like you do once your team gets good.
Sure. Yeah. Because so, if you make the playoffs and things like that, you get more these bonuses.
For recruiting.
Yeah. Right. The rich just get richer.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
And that's one of the things that actually I like about building the bad team, to kind of come back to that, is it's really difficult to compete with your really good teams when they're recruiting with 800 points and you're recruiting with like 400 points. Right. It's kind of one of the ways the game has made it more realistic. Right. Because if you're a bad team like New Mexico State, dude, you're not competing with Texas.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to fly all over the country and woo these recruits.
But the big thing is when you are no longer in that begging phase, right? You're in the choosing phase. Now, all those extra points can go into things like scouting. And so you can get the best of the best and kind of weed through because you can piss these points away.
Dude, that's such a great point. I can't believe we didn't mention it. Dude, early on, don't bother
fuck with scouting. Yeah, no. When you're just starting out, you don't even need to. Every 3-star is better than what you got.
Right, exactly. And especially if you get a 4-star somehow. Dude, who cares if he's a gem or not? Yeah. Even if he's a bust, he's still going to start.
He's still better than my 2-star quarterback. Exactly. That is like can barely fucking walk straight.
Yeah, dude, scouting is a total luxury. Yeah.
I think it should be okay to kill one of your players if they suck. Like, I know you can encourage transfers. I just want to kill him. Like, he's just dead. Right. Yeah, and that's it. Like, I just did him in, and now he's gone. And then I don't have to deal with his fucking shitty ass on my roster for the next 3 seasons.
Right. All right. So now you got a basic idea of how to build a bad team, how to make them at least a little bit less shitty year by year, and go on with that. So we may have more episodes like this in the future.
Sure.
For now, I think it's time to wrap it up. Okay. Guys, thank you for listening. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And whatever else, share, rate the episode, leave a review, whatever it is that your platform asks you to do.
Hold on. Before we get to our sponsor, I want to give a couple of shout outs.
Go for it.
To a couple guys that are in the SAC. That the SAC is people that are on our podcast homepage that listen every week. They subscribe and they interact with us a lot more.
Right. The guys like podcast homepage is on Facebook. Yes. It's the Balls Deep Podcast. Search
which you can find in our featured section. If you want to be a part of the SAC, just go in there, and I want to talk about the stickers real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I made some stickers of our one of our sponsors and been sending them out. Yeah, the He Held On Foundation. And I've been sending those out to our members. I'm about to mail out another bunch today. So if you're interested in one of those stickers, get on over to the SAC, right? Get over to the podcast page and, be like our members, Blaine Hester, Nick Leonard, Tim McCall, who's one of our moderators. Those guys, they are, our backbone right now. And so, so that's it. I just want to say thank you to those guys because they support us each and every week and they make this so much easier to do. because, now we know, hey, there's people listening. Our audience is growing. It grows every single week. And that's thanks to you guys.
Since we're talking about He Held On stickers, it's appropriate since He Held On is our sponsor.
It is? He Held On our sponsor?
Yeah, look at that. Right. Yep. All right. So here we go. He Held On. They help senior citizens achieve their bucket list dreams before they die. Yep. Ernesto Garcia took an international flight to his ancestral home in the Basque region of Spain this month to fulfill his bucket list dream of playing jai-alai. When the last fronton in the United States closed its doors in 2021, the then 81-year-old Ernesto thought his chance was lost. But you know why they would close frontons here in the United States for jai-alai? Well, A, because nobody plays it, but B, it is the world's most dangerous sport.
Really?
It's the sport, if you don't know about jai-alai, it's the sport where people have like this big curved...
Like a sickle. But it's
like a sickle.
Yeah.
And it has this ball in it that's like a
made of steel.
Ball. Yeah, exactly.
It's
and
got
they
spikes.
Throw it against the wall like 140 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that's jai-alai.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, he thought he wasn't going to have the chance to play jai-alai anymore. But thanks to the generous financial support of donors like you, the He Held On Foundation brought Ernesto to Guernica, outfitted him with a cesta, that's the stick thing, gave him an authentically handcrafted pelota, which is the ball, and let him take his place on the court alongside the renowned champion known as Tevin to his fans. Tevin's serve measured a respectable 161 miles per hour, and he courteously placed it so Ernesto wouldn't have to move to catch it. We can only assume that beneath his caved-in maxilla and vomer bones, Ernesto was smiling.
Oh, he went out like a boss, dude.
Yeah, he went out with a bang.
Yes. All right. Well, we should all be so lucky. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
All right. For Anthony Scafacci, for Alan Gigax, this is Balls Out. We're going to pull out.
No, this is Balls Deep. We're going to pull out.
Yeah, we're going to pull out.
Yeah, let's pull it. Dude, we already blew it.
Yeah, fuck.